Hi, I'm Craig, and this is the seventh video in this series of the solar system. Today I'm going to talk about Mars. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun. Mars is also known as the Red Planet, and I will explain why a little later. But now, how big is Mars? Mars is about twice as small as Earth, 2 times smaller than Earth. The circumference of Mars at the equator is 21,000 kilometres. It's 21,000 kilometres in the circumference, the distance all the way around. The radius of Mars, that's from centre to surface, is 3,400 kilometres. It's 3,400 kilometres. It's the radius. Mars's core, the centre of Mars, is made up of mainly iron. Mars's core is made up of mainly iron, but also nickel and sulphur too. So it's made up of mainly iron, but also nickel and sulphur. The core of Mars is about half the size of the planet, and it may be entirely liquid, but it could even have a solid iron core with a liquid exterior. The outside of the core could be liquid and the inside of the core solid iron. Mars has the largest volcano in the solar system. Mars is the largest volcano in the solar system, called Olympus Mons. It is about 25 kilometres in height and has a diameter of 624 kilometres. The largest volcano on Earth, on our planet, is called the Mauna Loa, and it can be found in Hawaii. It's just over 4 kilometres high and 120 kilometres in diameter. So it is much smaller than this volcano on Mars. There are also craters like they are on other planets, and canyons. The deepest canyon on Mars is Valles Marineris. It's about 7 kilometres deep. It's about 7 kilometres deep. The deepest canyon on Earth is the Grand Canyon at about 1.8 kilometres. So it's about 4 times bigger than the Grand Canyon, or 4 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. So what's the temperature like on Mars? How hot or how cold does Mars get? Mars has a very thin atmosphere, a very thin atmosphere, and because of that it doesn't trap heat. So when the sun's rays shine on the planet, heat isn't distributed evenly and it leaves the planet. But the temperatures can get from about minus 153 degrees Celsius at the poles up to about 20 degrees Celsius on other parts of the planet. So Mars is the 4th planet from the Sun, being Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. 4th planet from the Sun, and it orbits the Sun at about 228 million miles away. So Mars orbits the Sun at 228 So it orbits the Sun at 228 million miles away, and it moves at a speed of about 24 kilometres per second. It moves at about 24 kilometres per second, which is slightly slower than Earth. just a little slower than Earth. And just like Earth, it has an elliptical orbit, meaning the orbit is egg-shaped, yeah, not a complete circle. So the Sun, Mars, with an elliptical orbit. And this means that throughout the year, the distance between Mars and the Sun, it varies. It is different between 206 million kilometers away at its closest, and at its furthest 249 million kilometers. Because the time it takes for Mars to orbit the Sun is very close to that of Earth, a day on Mars is it's around the same time. It's 24.6 hours. One day on Mars is about 24.6 hours. 24.6 hours. But a year on Mars is much longer. 1 year on Mars is 687 Earth days. 1 year on Mars. Mars is tilted on its axis like a few planets are, just like Earth is. It's tilted at about 25 degrees, which is slightly more than Earth. With Earth is, if you remember from a previous video number 5, Earth is tilted at about 23.5 degrees. Mars is tilted slightly more at 25 degrees. And the tilt on the axis is why we get seasons. So Mars has seasons as well as Earth. But because it takes much longer to orbit around the Sun, Mars's seasons are about twice as long as they are on Earth. So Mars's atmosphere is made up of about 96% carbon dioxide. It's made up of about 96% carbon dioxide. It also contains small amounts of argon, nitrogen, oxygen and water vapour. So 96% carbon dioxide, and the rest is argon, nitrogen, oxygen and water vapour. Water vapour is a gas. Water is a liquid. Water vapour is a gas. It is still H2O. The atmosphere on Mars is very, very thin, but it is thought that it used to be much thicker. That years and years ago, the atmosphere on Mars was much thicker. We had a much thicker atmosphere. The loss of atmosphere is likely due to solar winds, that is solar radiation coming from the Sun. But there are other processes that can thin an atmosphere as well, such as from celestial bodies, such as asteroids, meteorites. So, is there water on Mars? Right now, no. There is no liquid water on Mars, but there has been liquid water on Mars in the past, millions of years ago. We have evidence of liquid water on Mars due to the canyons, the dry lake beds and river networks. So water from the lakes. Yeah, lakes and rivers and deep canyons. But the planet does still have polar ice caps. The planet still has polar ice caps. That's ice at the North Pole and the South Pole. If this were to melt and become water, then it will cover the planet in 20 to 30 meters deep of water. Does Mars have any moons? Mars has 2 moons, an inner moon and an outer moon. The inner moon of Mars is called Phobos, and it has a much smaller moon. It has a much smaller outer moon called Deimos, a large inner moon called Phobos, and a smaller outer moon called Deimos. They are not perfectly circular, they are very unevenly shaped. For example, I don't know the exact shape of these moons, however, they are not circular, they're more uneven, orbiting the planet. And Phobos, the inner moon, is moving closer to Mars, and scientists think that it's likely to crash into Mars in about 50 million years. As I mentioned earlier, Mars is known as the red planet because it appears red from the Earth. So why is Mars red? Mars contains a lot of iron in its rocks, and there's a lot of dust on the surface of Mars. Due to oxidization, that is when oxygen mixes with certain other elements, such as many metals like iron, they turn a reddish colour, similar to the iron that rusts on Earth. And because there is a lot of dust on Mars, it appears red to us. However, when you look at Mars much closer, there is more of a variety of colours. Mars also has a large dark patch on its surface. A large dark patch on its surface. This is known as the Cetus Major Planum. The Cetus Major Planum. It reaches around 1,500 kilometres north of the equator. Around 1,500 kilometres north of the equator, and it is about 1,000 kilometres in diameter. So Mars is one of 5 planets that you can see with your naked eye without the need for a telescope. It was known at least 4,000 years ago. However, we don't know who first discovered Mars. But the course through the sky of Mars was mapped, was charted by ancient Egyptians. Since 2016, there have been about 40 missions to Mars. Just over half have been successful. We have sent machines to Mars with wheels so they can travel over the surface of Mars, take photos and send them back to Earth. The Mars rover is one of these vehicles that has landed on Mars. The latest was NASA's Curiosity rover, sent in 2012. The first mission to reach Mars was in 1964 when they sent the Mariner 4. Launched the Mariner 4 to Mars in 1964. The previous attempt was Mariner 3, which was unsuccessful. Mariner 3 failed because there was a technical issue. There was a technical problem. But Mariner 4 was the first flyby of Mars. It flew past Mars. NASA's Curiosity rover. The Curiosity rover is probably the most well-known vehicle on Mars, which landed in 2012. NASA's current goal is to send humans to Mars by 2030. They want to send us, humans, to Mars by the year 2030. Do you think that we will be successful and we will send humans to Mars by the year 2030? If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section if you'd like to see more videos like these. If you would like a private English lesson, then please click on the link in the description. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.